Hello everybody, welcome back, and in today's video we'll be going over another very instructive game, and this game just so happens to be famous as well. And this game is between William Winter and Jose Raul Capablanca. So the game started off e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, knight f6, 4 knights game, obviously because there are 4 knights out on the board. Bishop to b5, bishop b4, castles, all normal. Bishop takes c6 and d takes c6. Now white plays d3 here, and if you're wondering why you can't capture the pawn on e5, that's because rook e8, knight d3, which hits this bishop on b4, bishop takes c3, d takes e3, and knight takes e4. And all of a sudden black's up in development because he has 2 pieces out compared to white's 1. And it's probably equal here, maybe even slightly better for black. So d3, bishop to d6, defending this pawn because white was threatening to capture because rook e8 no longer works because this pawn on e4 is defended. Bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, and c5. Now this prevents the move d4 and also provokes white's next move, which is knight to d5, which also is a very serious error. Now I would encourage you to pause the video here and see what you would play as black. In the game, black played the move g5. And you might say, oh, this is weakening the king, this is very bad for black. But the purpose of the move will become very clear later on. So, white plays knight takes f6. And if you're wondering why I can't just play knight takes g5, the problem is knight takes d5. And white doesn't really have a follow-up here. So, knight takes f6, queen takes f6, bishop to g3, and bishop g4 is black's follow-up. And white cannot prevent black's next move, which is bishop takes f3. After queen takes f3, queen takes f3, g takes f3, let's just evaluate the position here. So clearly you can see white's bishop on g3 is completely hemmed in by all of black's pawns. And it cannot go anywhere because this is taken, and this pawn here blocks the bishop's path. And there's really no way to relocate this thing, and it's just going to be sitting there for the entire game completely useless. So that was the main reason black played g5, to nullify the power of white's dark bishop. So black just plays f6, just strengthening those pawns, king to g2 and a5. Now another strategically correct decision, to play on the queen side. Black did not want to play on the king side because that's where white's nullified piece is. You don't want to play on the side that the opponent has a nullified piece, because that just makes the piece useful. It's useful as a defender. But if you play on the opposite side of the board, the piece cannot really exert influence over that side, and therefore it will seem like the opponent is down a piece because he doesn't have that firepower. So a4, king f7, rook h1, king e6, h4, and rook fb8. Of course, ignoring white. Shouldn't take this because rook takes h4 just weakens this pawn on h6. So don't do that. Rook fb8, h takes g5, h takes g5, b3, c6, rook a2, b5, advancing his pawns on the queen side because this bishop is on the king side and can't do anything. Rook ha1, c4, exclam, blasting lines open on the queen side. Now here, white decided to play a takes b5. If he tries b takes c4, b takes c4, d takes c4, winning the pawn. The problem is rook to b4 immediately recaptures this thing, and plus he has this open line, and black's completely better here. If he tries d takes c4, b takes c4, rook c1, with the intention of if he takes, and black takes on b3, white can take on c6. This is okay for black, okay for white. But the problem is he's just going to play rook to b4, and black's better here again. So a takes b5, c takes b3, gaining a tempo on this a2 rook. C takes b3, rook takes b5, rook to a4, rook takes b3, d4, rook to b5, defending this pawn. Rook to c4, rook b4, rook takes c6, and rook takes d4. And white resigned here because his bishop's completely out of play. I only said that like a million times. And black's passed a pawn is going to just roll down the board with no problem because he has basically an additional piece. So I hope this game demonstrates to you how much of an impact you can have on the game if you just nullify one of your opponent's pieces and play on the opposite side of the board. I hope this helps you in your future games. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.